And welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Batholkus, and it's Saturday Morning Blast Off. Hey, welcome everybody. Glad you could make it. We've got some people in the chat here. Who do we got going on here? Cartoon Fan 959, Pen Farm Girl, Matt Graham. I also saw a few other people in here too. Slurmy Scott, Mark Maginot. How's everyone doing this morning? And the Filthy News and Morks. Morks, welcome aboard, man. Yeah, it's been an interesting, a slow week actually for news. So not much out there, but we're going to make a go of it this morning. Hopefully everyone's doing good. And yes, I forget the actress's name now who played Alara on the Orville is making a Netflix movie is what I understand. Yeah, it's I don't know if the Last Summer movie is the Netflix movie or not either. That's all I heard. Yeah, Halston Stage is her name. Yeah, so supposedly that's what she left for, was doing either a Netflix movie or a series. They didn't really say. They just said it was a Netflix movie is all I read. I read about it like third hand, so it's like telephone, for the most part in most of the news stuff there. But yeah, speaking of Orville, we're going to get to that in a little bit. I'm going to wait till some more people come in a bit. I'm going to start off with some of the other news that we've got going on this morning. So Shazam, I guess, has released a whole bunch of little tidbits here and there of stuff that they're doing. And I guess they're going to be having a whole bunch of potpourri, if you will, of DC Easter eggs, and there's going to be references to a whole bunch of different things. So they're going to reference Man of Steel, Batman and Superman, Batman versus Superman, Justice League, all of that in there. Also, I guess one of the kids is going to be humming the original Superman theme from the Donner movie. They're also, I guess, is what they're going to do. They're going all the way back to the very beginning of Shazam lore when he was Captain Marvel. And the villain is going to be the 7 deadly sins. I mean, this is pulling deep from the closet on that one, which I thought was kind of interesting that they were going that far back to do it. And the other thing that's kind of interesting is that they cast John Glover. Now, those of you who don't know who John Glover is, if you saw Smallville, he was Lex's dad, Lionel Luthor. He's also been in so many different movies over the years. Gremlins 2, the new batch, being one of the better ones that he's been in, that or he just kind of ate up scenery. Yeah, Lionel Luthor. And he is an undisclosed role. They don't know exactly who he's going to be. It's just that he has been cast in there. Yeah, he has been in a lot of stuff, Pen Farm Girl. And Brewer says, I hum the Donner Superman theme to this day. Yeah, who doesn't, man? I've actually got, and it's sitting over here. I don't want to pull it out because I'm going to rip it. I know that the original giveaway when the movie first came out, they used to give out pamphlets of the movies, like what it was about and with the actors and the casts and all that kind of stuff. And I still have mine from way back when in 1978 when I went and saw that thing. Joe Greer says, I enjoyed watching the Shazam live action. You mean during the 70s, Joe Greer? Yeah, the live action was during the 70s, not the 80s. Unless you watched it, after the fact. Cartoon Fan says, anyone remember Nicole Egbert of Baywatch? She left the series for a movie career which never came and then faded into obscurity. Yeah, a lot of people do that. They go off, they leave to go and do something else. But you know what? You never know unless you go out there and give it a shot. So the way they wrote off her character for Alara, it's so that she can come back. And you could tell when she was doing her goodbyes, that was the real goodbyes on the show. It was probably the best scene they had in that entire episode, really. And you could tell who she actually got along with in the cast the most. And you could tell her and the woman who played Dr. Finn, they really got along really well. And then her and Kelly got along really well as well. So and you can hear my dog barking, making a little noise. She lazily barks from the couch at whoever's at the door. So gaming the sick boy says, so what time is Counterpart on in the States? Excuse me. Counterpart is on, well, the broadcast is on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. And but if you have the app, which usually if you have the service, you have the app, it hits at midnight Eastern Standard Time on Saturday. So yeah, it usually hits 9 p.m. my time tonight. That's what that's going to be. Yeah, that's why I usually watch it Sunday morning, and I do my review on Sunday morning. So yeah, if you're interested in Counterpart, I'm going to be doing that tomorrow. It's on my schedule. I believe I have it for 10 a.m. if I'm not mistaken. It's either 9 or 10. I can't remember which one I put down there. So Superman and Shazam had a great fight during the JLA Unlimited series on Cartoon Network. Yeah, Joe Greer. They did a great job on that. I'm actually kind of looking forward to this one. It's going to be cheesy as all hell, but you know what? The Aquaman movie was cheesy too. The Aquaman movie wasn't the greatest either, but it was okay. Oh, you stream it on Amazon in Northern Ireland. Yeah, I might as well talk about that one. I'm kind of pissed about this actually. There's a website up that is called, now let me get to it here because I have it on my list of things, called canceledsci-fi.com. And what they do is they track what's on, and they say what's going to be on the bubble, what's been renewed, all that kind of stuff. And so, of course, they're following Counterpart, and they have it as on the bubble right now. So they say the show has been well received by critics, but has yet to find much of an audience. Its ratings were low in its first year and only survived to a second season because it was renewed in advance. This year, it's barely registering in the ratings, and they have to consider it very much on the bubble. It's possible that Starz has international deals on this one that might prop it up, but if not, fans will have to hope that a second season does not end on a cliffhanger. Exactly. That's my one fear about this thing, is that it's such a well-written show, but no one's watching it. And Starz is not advertising this shit at all. Yeah, exactly. I had to do the same things. Gaming the sick boy. Had to sub the Starz channel to get it. That's the only reason why I subscribe to the Starz channel, is to, or the Starz app actually is what I do, because of Counterpart. Honestly, American Gods is okay. It's, it's all right. I know a lot of people like it, but Counterpart is actually where I think it's at. And I did the same thing for Ash versus Evil Dead. I would sub in when they had Ash versus Evil Dead on, and of course cancel it right away, right after the season was over with. And yes, they could go anywhere with the story. But I'm really, really pissed off that Starz is not doing any marketing at all for this. Look at Future Man. Future Man's on Hulu, and I was talking with a few people offline about how Hulu wasn't doing any advertising for that show either. And then right in the middle of the Orville, what do I get? I get a freaking 60-minute commercial for Future Man that was coming out the next day. It was coming out on midnight that night. And yeah, it was really damn funny. Yes, Pen Farm Girl, hashtag save Counterpart. Pretty much that's where we're at this point. Again, we don't know what their foreign deals are, because they could have something with the foreign market and have it going on. I don't know. Filthy News says Ash vs. Evil Dead was too hokey. It was okay. Ash vs. Evil Dead was actually pretty damn good. Third season sucked because they got rid of the showrunner from the first and the second season, and then tried working in some of his stuff into the third season. It was okay, but it was just, it sucked compared to the first two seasons. And come on, they had fucking Lee Majors in there, man. Lee Majors as his dad. It was awesome. And yes, Future Man is pretty damn funny. Again, if you're not watching Future Man, sign up for the free Hulu trial. It's a 30-day free trial. I don't get paid by them. I don't, I'm not doing advertising for them or anything like that. I just really like the damn show. You can watch all of season 1 and all of season 2 because they both dropped, and they just, throw it in there. Slummy Scott says, I adopted a rule. Don't get into bubble shows until they get a third season, but disappointed too many times. Yeah, but if you don't get into a show until the third season, Slurmy, then they're not getting any of the ratings, so they get canceled. So there's your problem right there. Pen Farm Girl, I'm only on episode 2. I'm actually not spoiling. I know I'll spoil it if I go through and just run through the entire series. So I'm trying to take my time on it at the moment. Slurmy Scott says, talking to other people, who are these people and should we be jealous? No, they're just people. That's all I'm going to say. So it was kind of cool though. Counterpart, the Counterpart writers room actually retweeted or liked one of my tweets. And I guess I'm hoping that maybe it's some of my theories. Maybe it's just because I'm watching the show and tweeted about it. I don't know, but I thought that was actually very cool. So, yeah, Pen Farm Girl. I mean, it is. I have to budget my time. There's only so much time in the day, and I need to sleep at some point. And there's a demanding little dog that's laying over on a pillow over there right now, who I also have to factor in time for as well. So, and then that pesky work thing, that pays me money. Mork says, started Future Man, but was too late and fell asleep. I kind of got the vibe that it was a story similar to the movie The Last Starfighter. No, Morks, it's completely different. They start off actually with that reference about, oh, I get it. This is The Last Starfighter is what Josh says. He actually says that in the first episode. It's not The Last Starfighter. It is, The Last Starfighter, Back to the Future, Mr. Destiny, pretty much every single sci-fi fantasy movie from the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s that you can think of that were good, all mixed in, plus some other shit mixed into it as well. They even work in a John Wick reference in this season. So, yeah, it's some really good stuff, man. Gaming the Sick Boy says, when season 2 of Counterpart came on, I watched episode 1, then watched the other review feed. I was like, where's the smart guy? He's gone. So I had to watch an old episode to see what's your name. Cool, man. Thanks for following me over here. Yeah, I really dig time travel shows. I also dig these alternate reality shows too. I've said this before. I have a degree in science. I also have a degree in art. The two kind of play hand in hand. I like that analytical stuff. I like when writers, when they're doing these shows, especially sci-fi shows, take that into consideration and mix some real science in, even in the comedy stuff too, man. I mean, look at Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. That was total comedy, but they did it so well that it works. And you can forgive whatever little, nitpicky errors if you're going to go that way. Same thing with Future Man. Same thing with Counterpart, man. Counterpart's awesome. They're just on point, and they give you just enough to keep you in, to reel you in. So, Pen Farm Girl says, if they could just pay you for being smart and good looking, yeah, I wouldn't get money for either of those, Pen Farm Girl. I'd be a poor, poor man. Cartoon Fan 959 says, many sci-fi shows in the past got cancellation with no proper ending. Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Future, Earth 2, Slider, Sequest, Time Tracks. Now Netflix can save them. Well, Netflix can't save them all. I mean, there's Amazon too. There's a lot of different streaming services that are coming about. And still one of the ones that really pisses me off for the ending was Space Above and Beyond. That was a cliffhanger that I still can't get over. And I blame Fox for that one completely. So yeah. Mork says there's a very good Spanish from Spain time travel movie. Can't remember the name now, but it deals with time travel. Yeah, that's the one where he keeps popping up. And there's multiple versions of himself. I know which one you're talking about, Morks. I can't remember the name of it either at the moment. It's very dark too, if I remember correctly. Gaming the Sick Boy says, I haven't started Future Man yet. Reason is I only heard about it when I found this channel. Stars promo again. Yeah, it's actually not Stars, it's Hulu Gaming Sick Boy, and that one you can actually sign up for free. Actually, you said you're in Europe. Hopefully, it's free over there. I don't know exactly offhand. Yeah, man. Penn Farm Girl, save and the Sarah Connor Chronicles as well. The ending for that one pissed me off because that was such a well written show. And then the guy went over and started writing 12 Monkeys. It was actually supposed to be called Splinter, but Sci-Fi wanted to work in 12 Monkeys, so he melded the two and made a great show. If you want to see a really well done time travel show, 12 Monkeys, man. 12 Monkeys is awesome. It's 5 seasons. I believe the Sci-Fi Channel has it up, or sci-fi.com has it up. And the last season is absolutely bonkers, ape shit bonkers, but it ties everything together and weaves in everything from season 1 through season 5 and finished it up in a beautiful, beautiful ending. Yeah. Yeah, Joe, I think it's so for me, it's one of the best things from Netflix last year. What are you guys talking about there? As I'm going back, I was going to mention Dark. Yeah, I still haven't gotten into Dark yet. I mean, like I said, there's so much stuff out there. I love Man in the High Castle too, Joe Greer, but yes, I have to agree. Season 3 was good, but wasn't awesome. I like where they're going with it. I mean, because it wasn't that big of a story. If you read the original Philip K. Dick story, it's nothing at all like the show, and you're just like, where the hell did this come from? So, Filthy News says, "Hey, Dennis, 12 Monkeys was great. Also, if you're interested in a great series from up here in Canada, is Todd and the Book of Pure Evil. I've heard about that one. I don't know if it's available down here. I'll take a look for that one and see if I can do that." Yeah, Stanley Tweedle, I'll agree. The first season of 12 Monkeys is, they have to establish everything. But once it gets rolling, especially Jennifer Goines. Jennifer Goines, oh my God, the actress who plays her, why she's not in more things, I have no idea. She is probably the most talented actress I've seen in a while. And she needs to be in a lot more shit. That's all I'm going to say. Anyone hear anything about season 4 of The Expanse? So eager to see it. They've kept that thing on lockdown, Slurmy. There's no way Amazon is going to let anything leak about that at this point. I know that Kaz was talking. He was actually tweeting out some stuff at first, and I think they just went, "Nope, you can't do that," and put the lid on him. Time Crimes. There we go. Thank you, Gaming Egg Sick Boy. That is the one. That is the one we were talking about. That's the Spanish one where the guy is in multiple versions of himself come out, and he's trying to stop something that happened. And yeah, I heard that's really good. You know what? I've had that one on my next Netflix queue forever, and I just need to be kind of in the mood for that in order to do it. Yeah, and there's no release date yet for Expanse season 4. The only thing known is it'll be 10 episodes. Only 10 episodes, Mark. Okay, I didn't know that. Felipe Diaz says, "Did you see Penny Dreadful? What's your take on it?" I saw the first season of Penny Dreadful. I didn't watch the rest of it. I've tried, and I just need to get back into it again. That's all. Again, it's a matter of time. So I've got too many shows that I'm watching and reviewing, and it takes up a lot of time. Stormy Scott says, "I agree, Dennis. They could run the CIA. They're so good at keeping secret." Yeah, Amazon, my God, they just seal stuff down. And yeah, unlike Star Wars, which I guess, what's his name? Oscar says that, again, J.J. Abrams is flying without a script. Everything is being done improvised again, like the first one was, episode 7. That should scare you. That should scare you a lot. Yeah, considering that, they're trying to work in Carrie Fisher's, piecemeal performances from, found footage, I guess you could say. Fuck, man. Every time I think about that, every time I hear about that, I keep thinking of Futurama, where Zoidberg gets his uncle to make a movie with Calculon. And they spliced in all these different random Calculon scenes where he's doing reactions and all the backgrounds are different and things like that. That's all I ever think about. Yeah, Pen Farm Girl, that John Claude Van Johnson got canceled by Amazon. But I think there was more to it than that. I've been hearing rumors about the reason why John Claude does not get any work, and that might have spilled over into that series. So yeah, that could have been the reason why. Yeah. Jodie Whittaker. Yeah, I honestly, I don't watch Doctor Who. I watched 2 episodes of the new stuff. It's not for me. And quite honestly, I don't do hate watch videos. So, unless you count Orville at this point, because God, and honestly, if episode 4 doesn't get better, that is probably going to be my last Orville review, to tell you the truth. Well, I might as well get into that one. So same thing, cancellation watch from this canceledsci-fi.com. They're talking about the Orville and what happened with the Orville here. And so returning for its 2nd season in late December, and it pulled a 1.5 rating based on the same day viewing. So this is only the same day viewing with 5.7 million total viewers. But the show's Thursday time slot debut was more concerning. It slipped to only a 0.6 rating with 2.8 million viewers. And that's live viewers, mind you. So it's always been... the Orville did perform well in delayed viewing last season, so they're going to have to wait and see how those numbers play out. For now, it's keeping a close eye on this one. And from what I understand, it bumped back up for home to like 3.6 million, somewhere around there. So not great, especially when you're, and they're just looking at US numbers at this point. And considering that you have, what is it, 250, 350 million people in the US, and you're only getting a small amount of viewers like that, especially after a football game, which is supposedly, one of the biggest things that people are watching, and it had that lead in. Yeah. And I agree. Someone mentioned it very early on here in the chat, leading with 2 Bortus episodes, especially one about porn that was poorly written, that really the A and the B plot should have been flipped. Yeah, the porn plot should have been the subplot. The the saving the people from the planet should have been the A plot. But no, they don't want to do sci-fi. Obviously, they want to do character-driven stuff at this point. It's just cartoon fan 959. Seth is their golden boy. He has carte blanche at Fox, especially after they canceled Family Guy. I'm pretty sure whatever contract he signed when he got Family Guy back on Fox was pretty much bent Fox over the barrel on that one. Yeah. Okay. Sick Boy is fine. I'll call you that. Sick Boy is good. Joe Greer says poorly written and somewhat offensive. I didn't find anything offensive about it, Joe Greer. I just thought it was somewhat preachy at times, and then I actually wanted to do the Mr. Mackey voice. Porn's bad, okay? Because it was just, I mean, really uber preachy. And I know there's some conservatives that are having some issues with it, and they mainly have issues with Seth because he's been outspoken. I really don't give a shit about that. Politics are politics. Leave it out of my fucking fantasy and sci-fi and all that stuff. As I've said before, you want to put current events into your current TV show or your current movie, nothing ages that shit faster. Go and look at Shrek, the first movie. See how many references were done. And even that was outdated when that came out because of all the references they put into that. That's the reason why they're rebooting that shit again. Yeah, unless you want to reboot your shit every 5 years, go ahead. Put in some current events. Do that. I mean, it's stupid. It really is. I mean, putting in, catchphrases from commercials, or you go girl, or whatever else seems to be the rage of the day. It's really stupid, especially in your sci-fi and fantasy. I'm going to say this about the Orville: the fact that they keep referencing pop culture from today as commonplace in the Orville, which is supposed to take place like what, 300-400 years in the future. Yeah, it's all that in a bag of chips, Matt Graham. Exactly. It's really stupid. It's really, really stupid that you do that. Come up with something new. I mean, Babylon 5 did it. They, they didn't reference anything pop culture, but they harkened back to the old stuff by saying, yes, some of the characters do, like Garibaldi, love Daffy Duck. Daffy Duck, as he put it, was the god of frustration, as he talked to Jakar about that, because Jakar wanted to know who this character was that he had on the wall. And yeah, things like that. You don't need to mire yourself in pop culture references and kill your show. Stormy Scott says the Alara episode was more like a drama show. It reminded me of Hawaii Five-0, Killer, something like that. You know what threw me off is when she's sitting on the beach and then she closes her eyes and imagines herself riding across the beach on that creature. And I started laughing because I thought I was watching a Massengill commercial. It threw me off completely. I'm like, what the fuck was this? Why did you guys throw this in? Did you not have enough time and you had to, pad it a little bit? You could have done something else. Like, I don't know, maybe told the, what your plan was for, Alara on the ship. You had about 30 seconds. You could have actually done that. But it just threw me off completely because it was so out of place. It was a weird scene and it didn't make any sense whatsoever. I mean, having her look up at the stars, yeah, that was fine because she was looking up to see where the ship was, and she missed being out in space. But riding a dragon horse across the beach, Jesus. Yeah, Stormy Scott, I honestly don't get into the drama stuff. There's enough drama in life as it is. I don't need to be depressed by watching more of the drama stuff. And so, yeah, I tend to move away from that. Yeah, I watch it if, every now and then, if something grabs me, but it's very few and far in between. So yeah, Orville needs to pick up their shit is really what needs to happen at this point. Speaking of which, I'm going to go through a couple other shows they have on here. So they have Arrow, of course, renewal likely. No change there. Black Lightning says renewal possible. Says the numbers are down for the show in its second year and will not have too many episodes under its belt by the season end. The CW prefers to renew shows rather than cancel them. Yeah, they don't have anything else, so it's going to renew it more than likely. Charge renewal possible. Counterpart, of course, says on the bubble. A Flash renewal likely. Changes are on the way for the CW superhero shows with next year's Crisis on Infinite. Yeah, they're going to start off the CW shows next year with Crisis on Infinite Earths. That's going to be the season opener, and they're going to change pretty much everything. From what I understand, Supergirl is now going to become part of their timeline. So it's, yeah. That's what they're saying. Arrow's likely to be renewed. I don't know if they're going to change the actors, Mark Maginot. It's, yeah, who knows? I've heard the rumors too, but I think he's going to come back. He's an executive producer on that show anyway. He's making money off this stuff. He'll come back. They give him enough money. The Gifted, unfortunately, renewal is possible. It says this show is at series low numbers and it's not getting the same lift from the delayed viewing that it was seen last year. Fox owns the show and is part of the X-Men franchise. Actually, the X-Men stuff all across the board is going down. So we're talking a lot about superhero movies that are coming out this year. We have Dark Phoenix coming out, in, what is it, June, July? June. May, actually. I take that back. May. And no one's talking about it. The reason why is that show has been delayed, or that movie's been delayed so much. It's being rewritten, reshot. You also have Jennifer Lawrence, who's been shit-talking that movie, since the second one that she came out in. And also the Fox-Disney merger doesn't make any difference at this point. No one cares because, Yeah, and the Dark Phoenix story has already been done before. It was done really poorly in X3. So it's yeah, no one's interested in the Dark Phoenix story. Yeah, they're going to bring aliens into this too. They're going to bring the Shi'ar in, like it was in the comics, but that was a long overarching arc. There's no way you can do this in a 2-hour movie or a 2.5-hour movie. It's going to be really, really interesting. Yeah, Joe Greer, I agree. The Passage is like the girl with all the gifts with Glenn Close. I did like that movie. That was a really good movie. That's why I'm actually covering The Passage. I actually got the Passage confused with the what was that ABC show with all the people coming from the future back into the past. So I thought it was the second season of that because it had the same kind of production values and the same sets. But yeah, I know the Passage, or yeah, the Passage is a little bit different. So The Crossing, thank you, Joker. Yeah, The Crossing, The Passage, it all had similar, tie-ins and all that. They look similar. Yeah. I did not binge The Future Man there, Slurmy Scott. I haven't done it. I hope it pops on Netflix. You're talking about the Passage? Yeah. Felipe Diaz says, a month ago, I saw all the X-Men movies for the first time. There's a really good ones, but some are just a shit show. Yeah, Felipe, a lot of them are not great. It's Bryan Singer mainly. Bryan Singer is the plague on the X-Men. And hopefully once it goes over to Disney, they are going to do something good and actually do the X-Men for once. Because whatever this stuff is, it's not really the X-Men. Wolverine was great, but having him on wires, it looks like he's flying on wires. You can actually see him doing this little bob as he flies, through the air and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. I know people are saying, "Oh, well, that's what saved superhero for." No, it didn't. It didn't start the superhero franchise either. If you really want to go back to Blade. Blade was back before everyone else, and that's what started your Marvel movie franchise right there. That was a fucking surprise for everybody. I remember when I went and saw that in the movie theater. I'm like, Marvel movie, yeah, they're gonna fuck this one up big time. Went in and saw that in the movie theater, and that opening scene, I was like, holy shit, this was good. And then it kind of went downhill from there. But hey, you know what? The Spike series, man, oof, that was bad. Blade, you mean Buffy the Vampire, Buff the Vampire Slayer? That's what Penn Farm Girl says. Hey, Blade was out a long time before Buffy. So if anything, if we're going to talk about, who stole from who, yeah, I'm just going to say Josh Whedon is a comic book reader. He is a Marvel fan. So yeah, that's all I'm going to say. And Josh also, or Joss, however you want to pronounce it, he borrows from a lot of things. That's all I'm going to say. Excuse me. He does homage to a lot of things. Yeah. Oh God. Funny thing, Joker. I actually have an old roommate of mine who is in an episode of Buffy. He's actually in the swim team one in the very first episode. If you look at the swim team that are all sitting around in the locker room there, he's the only one that's hairy because he got called the day before and wasn't told that he needed to shave his legs and all that stuff. So he's also been in Voyager, Starship Troopers. He was Patrick Neil Harris's hands. Yeah, the hairy one wearing the Speedos. Yeah, that's him. That is him, Morks. It's pretty damn funny. We talk about him all the time. I doubt he's watching this, but Aaron, if you're out there, man, hope you're freezing your ass off over in Ohio. Yeah. Yeah, Cal Penn's been in old episodes, Wentworth Miller. Yeah, there's a lot of people that were in there. Serenity made up for Firefly. Yeah, Slurmy. It was a good ending to the Firefly series. I wish it had gone on longer. In an alternate universe, it probably did go on for 10, 15 seasons, probably still on. But yeah. So Let's see here. So they're also saying The Good Place renewed, Legacies renewal possible. Let's see what else. Manifest renewal possible. Outlander has been renewed already. This is the thing that gets me. Stars has put all their eggs into fucking Outlander, and that's all I can say. Not a big fan of Outlander. It's the only show they bring to Comic-Con. They have, I mean, Counterpart should have been at Comic-Con. It really should have. You want to talk about a fit? That's the one that should be there. Outlander, yes, I know. Yeah. Really? Filthy News says I'm friends with Manu Interyami, actually from Voyager. Nice. Bork says love Starship Troopers. Only the first one and the animated one released recently. The other ones, well, not so. Yeah, the other ones are really bad. Really bad. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, he was the hand stand-in for Neil Patrick Harris when you see the ferret when he's sending the ferret out to go run up his mom's leg when he's sitting there with yeah. So that one's actually pretty fun. Yeah. Supergirl says a renewal possible, Supernatural renewal possible. So a lot of stuff, the like Channel Zero cancellation likely. And I'm not surprised because you keep changing out the storyline. I know they're trying to do like what FX did with their horror series, and it doesn't work. Channel Zero was okay, but it's so off each season that I liked the first season a lot, and the second season I dropped it, and I haven't gotten back into it since. Into the Badlands is on the bubble. Humans on the bubble. Night Flyers is on the bubble. I don't know. Anyone watching Night Flyers? I haven't gotten into it. I'm not the biggest George R.R. Martin fan. Game of Thrones is okay. It's not the buzzworthy show that everyone keeps saying it is. And Wild Cards I'm not looking forward to. I know he's bringing that out. And Night Flyers I had even less desire to go and see. Mork says I like Into the Badlands. Agent Future says Night Flyers is terrible, but Joker says first season was chilling and creepy. Okay. So yeah, when you have that big of a difference between people, I know it's just going to be kind of like, for me. Nice. Did Mark Maginot says that Badlands continue already? I don't know. It says here the show wrapped up the first half of its third season in June, and there is still no word on when it will be back, leading me to wonder if AMC has given up on it. More on that at this link. They have another link to it. Its ratings are down over 50% from its second year and remains firmly on the bubble at this point. Fans should definitely make a call to action on the social networks to show that it has a loyal following. So there's a call to action link on canceledsyfy.com where they actually do basically they go out and do the save the Expanse, save Counterpart, all that kind of stuff, and do one of those kind of things. So it's not a mid-season break. They haven't scheduled anything. Yeah. So who knows what's going to happen with that, Mark Maginot. Yeah, it is in big trouble. Honestly, it's AMC. They give up on things really easily. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see anything about it. They're almost worse than Sci-Fi. And Sci-Fi is pretty bad. I mean, they canceled The Expanse for God's sakes. In the vein of Into the Badlands, if you want to see something that's an interesting movie, it's very weird. It's got Woody Harrelson in it, Ron Perlman, Demi Moore, of all people. It's called Bunraku, Bunraku, and it's probably one of the most visually stylistic and awesome movies I've seen in a long time. It mixes video games into it as well. It has floating subtitles that come up for, because there's characters that don't speak English in it as well. Some really good shit and a lot of action. And it's pretty much, it came out before Into the Badlands ever came out, and it follows almost the same premise in a way, which is weird. So I don't know if there were some people that crossed over into the Badlands from that show, from that movie, or what. Excuse me. So what else did I have going on this morning? Sony is finally going to make better use of the PlayStation Network. Now, remember, the PlayStation Network was started in 2006, and they're finally going to be bringing movies, TV, and music directly to the consumers. I don't know why they haven't done this before. And I mean, I know they've done it piecemeal here and there. They've tried doing, Sony TV and all that kind of stuff. But Kenshiro, who took over in April, has finally started, pushing some stuff here. And they're going to use the PlayStation Network as a channel now, which they should have been doing all along. They should have been, they should have been using it as a streaming service as soon as they came out the same time around as Netflix. And they really should have been using it the same way Netflix is, considering that they are out there everywhere, pretty much in a good majority of homes across the world. And they could have actually propped themselves up a lot. Yeah, Agent Future, Sony Entertainment is a hot mess, and they're trying to rectify that at the moment. And this is part of it, part of the reason why they're doing that. They've lost so much money and lost so many properties. It's ridiculous. That they're hanging on by a thread at this moment is really interesting. So, yeah, they have 3 separately run entertainment businesses: music, gaming, and motion pictures. And so that's what they're trying to do with the PlayStation Network, is to cram them all together and actually have a one-stop shop, if you will. Yeah, he says he calls the PlayStation Network a very strong entertainment platform for all of Sony, very suitable for video and music content. Duh. Yeah. So they really need to they really needed to actually work on that and bring it up to snuff. That's all I'm going to say. Really and truly. Filthy News says, why not talk about the elephant in the room? Mike Morhe down in April. About time he woke up and realized that Blizzard is crumbling. Yeah, Filthy, I don't really talk about video games too much here, or the video game industry. And I know you covered that, and I'm going to leave that to you on your channel. So those of you who don't know, the Filthy News, he covers a lot of video game news as well as other news as well. So you can go over and take a look over at the Filthy News channel. And he covers a lot of stuff. Some of our stuff cross-pollinates, but he covers a lot more of the video game side of things than I do. So Joker says, I found Bunraku on IMDb. Yeah, it's a really weird movie, man. I'm telling you. It's good though. It's good. Or is that Slurmy Scott says, Pen, I will try. I will fear no evil. It's about a super rich man dying, but has his brain transplanted in a woman's body. Only her soul doesn't leave. Total fantasy. Well, if he has his brain transplanted into her body, her soul's in her body, but not her brain. Okay. That's kind of weird. But all right. But yeah. Sorry, I had a Simpsons flashback all of a sudden. Pablo Neruda and the soul is the root of consciousness. Yeah, never mind. It's my own little problem that I have. So Sony also said that due to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse's recent success, which shocked them, not the rest of us, but they're actually going to start developing TV shows based on those characters. Yeah. Amazing. They're going to make animated TV shows based on those characters into the Spider-Verse. Of course, Spider-Ham being one of them that they really want to do because, you know, they want to gear these things towards kids. Duh. This is the stuff they should have been doing all along. Okay, this is the stuff Marvel should have been doing all along. And Marvel's been working with Disney only. They haven't been farming anything else out. And yes, I know they're owned by Disney, and Disney has a lock on this shit, but look at DC. DC is everywhere. Yes, the CW universe is not perfect, but it's still a shitload better than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. It's better than The Gifted. I'm going to say that right now. The Gifted is a hot mess. It's better than Cloak and Dagger. Anything's better than Cloak and Dagger at this point. And I'm talking about, these are just the Marvel shows. I'm going in comparison of the CW universe versus the Marvel universe. And yeah, the DC animated stuff that's out there right now is far more expansive and better than anything that Marvel has out there right now. And the fact that they're owned by Disney, that started off in animation, and they can't get anything animated out, is really kind of stupid. And yeah, don't say Spider-Man or what was the other show they have, that new Marvel, the all-female group, the Avengers one, that's only like 10 minutes each episode. I tried watching it, and it's really bad. But yeah, Age of Future, The Gifted is a hot mess. They don't know what they want to do with it. They don't know what message they want to show off. They don't know if they want it to be on the run, yet everything is in one place. Man, it's they took the X-Men legacy and just basically flushed it. Runaways is okay. It's still not great. I haven't gotten past episode 1, to tell you the truth. I've tried, and I honestly am finding myself apathetic about it when I go and watch it. It's like I really don't care about the kids. I find the parents more interesting, to tell you the truth, even though they're villains. And the only thing that does work Marvel-wise TV show is Legion. And that's a Fox, that's a Fox show. Yeah, is what that is. That's FX. So it really isn't even Marvel. It's in conjunction with Marvel. And that's actually getting a 3rd season, which is awesome. I love that they're actually bringing that back. Yeah, Pen Farm Girl, Legion is art. Legion is, if you haven't seen Legion, go and log on to fox.com and or get the app or something like that and watch it. Watch the first episode. I think you'll be able to watch the first episode for free. And then after that, find somebody who has, who will let you borrow their login for cable and something like that. And so you can log into it and watch the rest of it. It is phenomenally good. And the visuals on it are awesome. And yeah, the Legion season 2 finale was so epic. Which is the worst out of all of those, Stanley Tweedle? Are you talking about just the Marvel stuff? I would say Inhumans. Inhumans is the worst. Yeah. Inhumans I couldn't get through. I actually skimmed through the episodes because, yeah, it was the worst show. When you take your main character whose power is her hair moving and you shave her head in the first episode because you don't have the budget in order to do the special effects for her hair, that right there shows you that what they should have done for the Inhumans was get a little bit more into it about the reasons why. And honestly, the Inhumans, the royal family, comes off as shitty dickheads too, like dictators that, his brother was right for taking over. Granted, his brother was no better than he was, but at the same time, yeah, the royal family are pretty much assholes, and they're working people in mines, women and children in mines. Yeah, it was bad. Yeah. Yeah, Happy is insane. Happy is on Netflix. Pen Farm Girl says, Morks, it's not for everyone, like Happy isn't, or Preacher. Yeah, Preacher is hit and miss. Preacher, The second season is rough, man. It's really rough. Really, really rough. And that's because they stopped in New Orleans, and yeah, or as you know, the saying goes, they went out to the farm. They stayed on the farm, and that's going back to Walking Dead episode or season 2 when they were having the whole showrunner battle that was going on, and so they ended up on the farm looking for Sophie for like 5,000-6,000 episodes. Yeah. Felipe Diaz says it's hard to get people into it. I told some friends to watch Legion, but they were like, "It's not for me." Yeah, I can understand that too. I'm talking about like comic shows that are flat out comic shows that mirror what you're reading from the comics and is a good translation over to over to live action. That is probably the best translation. There is one scene in season 2 that it looks like a comic book panel, and it's when they're fighting on the astral plane, him and Farouk, and they have tanks. There's a tank, and there's a spotlight on the tank, and everything else is black around it, and they're looking at it from overhead, and it looks exactly like a comic book panel, and it's awesome. It's probably the best representation of live action comics. That's all I can say. Yeah, and it does have a kick-ass soundtrack too. Stanley Tweedle says, I have a friend who is a total comic nerd, much more than me, and he did not like Legion. Yeah, I can understand. Again, there's a lot of people that, tastes vary, like I say. Not everyone likes everything. That is the reason why we have differences in this world. So, yeah, and by the way, I have the panel for Legion from Comic-Con. I have the entire thing up on this site. So if you're interested in taking a look at that, you can. I was there, recorded the entire thing, and have it up in its entirety. It's not the best panel in the world, but it's fun. And you can see that Aubrey Plaza is as, I don't know if it's an act or if she really is that kind of just scatterbrained. But yeah, it's really weird. But the news is that we have some casting for that one. Legion has cast Lauren Tsai as a character named Switch for season 3. First of all, I was glad that we finally got to mention that there is a season 3 coming out, because we knew it had been renewed, but there was nothing more that was said about it at this point. So Tsai previously made her television debut on the Japanese language reality series Terrace House Aloha State. Yeah. So this is her television acting debut. She's known as a model and an artist. That kind of worries me a little bit, but who knows? So we know the 3rd season of Legion is slated to air in 2019. We just don't know when. It just is. And more than likely, this will probably be the last season, is what I'm guessing. Or maybe we'll get one more out of it. I don't know. But probably the last season, because after this is the Disney Fox takeover, and I honestly don't believe this show is going to last through that. Especially with Noah Hawley becoming so damn hot right now. He's signed on. I think he's finished one movie. He's going to start another movie, and he's also doing Legion at the same time. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. And Fargo. I forgot all about Fargo as well. Yeah. Yeah, Penn Farm Girl. I was not up on Aubrey Plaza. I was not favorable of her. And then when I saw her in Legion, I'm like, holy shit, she can act, and she can act really well. And after that, I became the biggest Aubrey Plaza fan. Because her character, Heads and Tails, is probably, besides Dan Stevens, is one of the best characters. Stormy Scott says, that Marks, are you falling for the teabag bluff? I'm not going to tell you what's in my mug. And yes, no, it's Earl Grey. That's what I'm drinking. So there you go. Smooth. Yeah, Fargo season 4 will be delayed. Yeah, he's working on so much stuff right now. I'm not surprised. Right now, it's not hot. No, it's kind of lukewarm at the moment. Stanley Tweedle. I see what you did there. Yeah, that Picard series is going to be a. Speaking of hot messes, that's going to be a really hot mess. Yeah. Well, I don't have a replicator. Sorry. It got virused by some weird porn that Bortus put into the, you know, into the simulator. Was it this? Yeah, the simulator, not the holodeck. The simulator. No. Don't say holodeck. It's the simulator because we're not Star Trek. Oh man. Yeah, I really am not talking about the Star Trek stuff or Doctor Who stuff or anything like that because quite honestly, that's some really crappy stuff. If it becomes bigger, sure, but there are so many other channels that are covering it that are hate watching stuff and hate casting about that stuff. I'm gonna leave it to them. It's honestly life's too short for really bad shit to watch, to focus on bad shit. So we have a lot of really good TV out there. We have a lot of we have a normally bad TV out there too. So I like to focus on the good TV that we get because quite honestly, yeah, that's what I'm trying to do, Marks. I'm trying to keep it hate free. It's honestly, you don't need to focus on that shit. I mean, granted, I'll probably get like thousands more viewers if I did, but yeah, that's not the way I want to do it. Yeah. Mark Maggio says, yeah, I had to stop watching those channels. I don't blame you, man. When that's all it is, when that's all it's about, it's not fun anymore. I mean, if you're not having fun watching something, if you're just watching something because it's miserable and it's making you miserable, or it's quote unquote destroyed your childhood, yeah, you need to get away from the TV a little bit, go out in the real world, out into the really real world, and go out on a beach or something like that, unplug, take some time off, smoke a joint, something. It's legal now here in California. Go out and do it. Yeah, we do live in peak TV era, Agent Future. It's like I said, yeah, Slurmy Scott, there is big bucks in hate watching, and that's the reason why I'm not doing it. I don't want to go that route. That was one of the reasons why I'm not there anymore. That's all I'm going to say. And yeah, so that's the reason why I started my own channel. So. Yeah. So, what was I talking about here? Have you heard this joke? A priest in training, a clinical psychologist, and a general contractor walk into a CBS boardroom. I'm sorry. It's actually a new series called Evil that is coming to CBS. Think of it as like the X-Files, but supernatural based. That's what this is supposed to be about. I honestly don't know where the general contractor falls into all this, but it was kind of a weird. It was one of those weird things that I looked at and I'm like, what the? Okay. So the Good Fight creators, again, people that are not in genre stuff, are making this supernatural drama, which is the reason why it went to, why it got greenlit. And they're making an X-File-esque show about a team investigating extraordinary events. So you have, yeah, Evil centers is what it says on a skeptical female clinical psychologist who joins a priest in training and a blue-collar contractor as they investigate supposed miracles, demonic possessions, and other extraordinary occurrences. Together, they try to determine if there's a scientific explanation or if truly something truly supernatural is at work. And they're pairing this up with the spy thriller Surveillance on the network's drama pilot roster is what they're saying. Oh, there's a lot of jokes in there. Um, oh man, it's it's some weird shit, man. When CBS is doing this kind of stuff, and it's like they're doubling down on the bad TV. It really is. And instead of actually going out there and finding something from someone good who knows a little bit about the genre, who is actually putting the work in, they're like, hey, you from The Good Wife, you made a really crappy show that was kind of average, that is getting really good ratings. Can you do us a supernatural like X-Files show, but not the X-Files, but an X-Files show? Okay, sure. Slurmy Scott says, I cut the cord last year, so I've not seen Discovery, but I do wonder if I would like it or not. Slurmy, I watched the first episode of STD, and I was laughing through a good majority of it, and I couldn't bring myself to spend money on it at all. So that's why I didn't bother with it. And yeah, it's not my Star Trek. That's all I'm gonna say. Hey, Mr. B Natural, how's it going? Yeah. But yeah, evil does not sound evil. It might be evil, but it's not evil. I wonder if they're going to spend $1 million on it. Speaking of dated references, see, it all comes back around again. It's synergy. Back to what I was talking about at the very beginning of this episode. Oh man. Yeah, Mr. B Natural. I take your word for it, but I'm not gonna bite. I can't do it. I just really can't. And granted, I love the whole thing about alternate universes, time travel, all that stuff. But when you're fucking with canon, that is near and dear to my heart, I'm not gonna go and watch it. So yeah, it's the same thing like Star Wars, the new Star Wars movies. When you start fucking with canon and saying, hey, none of this matters, and so we're just gonna toss it out the window and piss on it. We're gonna light it on fire and piss on it for you, on the ashes. Yeah, you lose me at that point. You have no love for it. You just have hate in your heart, as they say. Slurmy Scott says, you recommended Future Man, so I trust your judgment and love my wolf. Yeah, man. Like I said, I was telling somebody in one of the comments here on one of my videos, and I can't remember who it was I was talking to about this. I said that I know a show isn't grabbing me is when I start thinking of doing other things, or I literally get up and start doing other things while the show is playing. Once that happens, I know that I'm lost on it, and I will give it 4 there's some episodes of things I will not watch. Like Manifest, I dropped it in the first minute and 30 seconds. I think it was when the first Bible verse was dropped in for no fucking good reason whatsoever. I was like, yeah, I'm out. Done. Don't need this shit. And yeah, so it is faster sometimes on some things that will just, piss me off and will let me drop it. But yeah. Yeah, Stanley Tweedle. Manifest was, it's just bad. Most of the stuff on network TV now isn't that great. It's all on cable now, really. And the fact, Hulu, where you can show, you can have the character say fuck, shit, damn, whatever, and you can have them show a gigantic dick that just keeps getting bigger every season too. The prosthetic is getting ridiculous. And also have a orgy that happens too for a couple of seconds. Pen Farm Girl says, I laugh every time you say a minute and 30 seconds. Manifest really wasn't that bad. Literally, Pen Farm Girl, I shit you not. I was watching that. I was streaming it, if I remember correctly. And as soon as she drops the Bible verse, I said, oh, fuck that. And I stopped it and I saw where it was. It was literally at the minute and 30 second mark. And I'm like, oh, Well, that didn't last long. Yeah. Because there was no good reason for her to do that whatsoever. It just, you know, hey, let me drop it in. It's kind of like Future Man in the first episode dropping disestablishmentarianism into it. And I know it had to have been a bet by the writers to see if they could actually work it into the script. There is no other reason to put that word in there other than being a bet. But it being a comedy, you could tell where they were going with it. And I love that they actually did that and that they worked it into the final product. Yeah, Stormy Scott. I don't blame you. I suffered through the Inhumans because I needed to see what they were going to do with it. Yeah. And same thing with Cloak and Dagger. I suffered through that for the podcast. And oof, man, that was a bad one. Yeah. So what else do I got here? I don't know if anyone ever saw the movie What We Do in the Shadows. And Takiti, I always murder his name. Basically, the guy who directed Thor Ragnarok, which was awesome. He did this little Kiwi story back about 3 or 4 years ago, or actually probably about 5 years ago. And Taka Watiti, that's his name. There we go. Now I can actually say it because I'm looking at it right now. So they actually have FX has picked up the movie and they're making it into a series. Now the series is like a documentary about these vampires, and there are three different generations of vampires. You could say some have been around for like a couple thousand years, some for a couple hundred years, and some are more newly minted. Three vampires, and they live together. And it's kind of like what was it? I would say it's more like MTV's the house that everyone's living in. I can't remember the name of the series now all of a sudden. But a documentary, and they're following around these vampires, and it's pretty damn funny, the movie. They are actually doing a series of this, and they're living in a small town, and it's just the mundaneness of them living in this town and what they're doing. And it's funny because of these vampires. So FX is actually going to be doing this. Great movie, but I hope they don't flog it to death. That's what Mr. B Natural says. I can see the humor in it, and I can see it actually going for a little while. So I'm looking forward to the series. It looks like it's going to be some fun. So yeah, there's a teaser out there. I believe I posted up on my Facebook site, so you can take a look at that, or the Facebook page. So take a look at that. It looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. What else do I have here? This one was kind of interesting. So Ridley Scott is going to produce and direct a TNT TV series called Raised by Wolves. And Travis Fimmel, I'm actually kind of surprised that Viking Bitch isn't here, because Travis Fimmel was on Vikings. He was in the first season of Vikings. He played the king, if I remember correctly. And I'm trying to remember what the king's name is here. I'm actually scrolling through at the moment. But anyway, Ragnar. There we go. Ragnar Lothbrok on Vikings for 4 seasons. He played that. So he's going to play the lead character Marcus. And what this is about is 2 androids on a virgin Earth-like planet that are raising human kids. And that's what this whole series is all about. And it seems very interesting. I was like, okay. But again, it's Ridley Scott. So that kind of worries me. There's part of it, it's like, okay, Ridley Scott, but androids raising human kids. Ridley Scott raising human kids. So yeah, it's I'm interested to see how this is going to play out. And as the Synopsis says here, says, as the burgeoning colony of humans threatens to be torn apart by religious differences, the androids learn that controlling the beliefs of humans is a treacherous and difficult task. That part actually kind of bothers me too. Kind of worries me, I should say, about the show. So if they go too far into it and it just becomes this religious diatribe back and forth, you're going to lose me. If you're not doing the sci-fi stuff, Joe Greer says, opinions on Blade Runner 2049, it sucked. I honestly, I fell asleep through that thing. It was one pretty boring mess. It needed an editor big time. Big time. Yeah. I couldn't get through it. I tried watching the vignettes, the little portions that were supposed to explain how that world came about, and that was even worse. Yeah, 2049 for me is definitely a good substitute for sleeping pills. I was going to try and watch Netflix, and I was like, why? Yeah. I'm sorry, I'm reading. Slurmy Scott says, Penn, it seemed the best way to describe without offending the prude dude, so not possible. What was that? Oh yeah, by the way, I love one of my commenters left on I believe it was the second Orville episode, said that the episode is not meant for the prude bourgeois, which I guess that's what I am. I'm the prude bourgeois now. So Suspended Fanimation, the home of the prude bourgeois. Would that work as a shirt? Yeah, Stanley Tweedle. I know a lot of people who like 2049, and that's great. I know there's a lot of shit that I like that people don't. And I'm not going to sway anybody's opinion. I'm not going to try and change your opinion on things. People like what they like. Some stuff hits you at a, it could be the moment in time you watched it. It could be whatever little tidbit in there grabs you. Nothing's right, nothing's wrong. So there you go. I mean, yeah, everyone has a difference of opinion. And I'm not going to shoot somebody down for liking it. I'm also not going to probably come over to your point of view either. I can respect your point of view, but it doesn't mean I'm going to come around to it. Yeah, Pen Farm Girl. See, that's the whole thing. These absolutes about people telling you that you're stupid if you don't like it, or you just don't understand it because you don't like it, or you're not woke enough because you don't like it, and that's just a straw man argument at that point. If you have to go down that road where you belittle someone's intelligence, or you call someone a bigot because they don't like something that you like, that's not winning people over to your argument at that point. You're basically you might as well just call people names. No, you're fat. No, you're ugly. There you go. Stormy Scott says, Dennis is too much of a prude bourgeois to appreciate Orville, so now we just call him the prude dude. I might just get a little button that says prude bourgeois. Yeah, exactly, Stanley Tweedle. There can be different tastes that coexist. That's the reason why you can't have cat people and dog people living together. It does happen. Yeah, Mr. B Natural. The addition of Harrison Ford, and I don't know. He was just there to show that he was a bad father and to go and kill another character off. That's all he was there for. Did I spoil that? Sorry. Pen Farm Girl says, I thought The Matrix and Avatar were way too overhyped and disappointed once I finally saw them. Yeah, well, Pen Farm Girl, when The Matrix first came out, it was awesome. So if you didn't see it when it first came out and you waited till later on after like the third movie came out, sure. I could see how it's overrated. It's the same thing like people who didn't see the original Star Wars. And by the original Star Wars, I mean 4, 5, and 6 when it first came out in the theaters, and have only watched it now when you've had the prequels and, 7, 8 out right now. It's going to be a different story because you have so much history that's built up on it, so much pop culture reference, and there's a different expectation. It's not the same time place as when we saw it. For example, and I keep being reminded about this, Lucas and Spielberg, they were friends at the time. Lucas was just finishing up Star Wars. He was putting the final touches on it, and Spielberg was working on Close Encounters of the Third Kind. And Lucas was so down on his movie, Star Wars. He was saying, "Oh, this thing is never going to work. It's not going to make any money. I don't think he thought he made a kids movie at that point in time. He's like, it's never going to be taken seriously. It's going to suck." And he was envious of Spielberg because your movie is going to be true sci-fi. It's going to be really nice. It's going to make a shitload of money. And Spielberg said, "You know what?" He goes, "I tell you what." He goes, "I'll swap your points." And Lucas is like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "I'll take 2.5 points of Star Wars, and you take 2.5 points of Close Encounters of the Third Kind." What that means is, from the box office run, or whatever the movie gets, makes, whatever the studio makes back on their initial investment, whatever is over that is the points. So he took 2.5% of the box office. He made $40 million out of that deal, Spielberg. So yeah, it's one of those things. I mean, yeah, Joker. So the THX 1138 is kind of messy. Again, it's not one of my favorite movies. Even though I do use 1138 as some login names and things like that, I should say as my screen name for things. So that's all I'm going to say. So it's an interesting take, but it's not fantastic. I've looked at it in film school a lot, and we've gone, dissected it, that kind of thing, and I can see what he was going for. But at the same time, it's not a good film. It's a great student film, I guess you could say. But if you want to see a really, really good student film, go and look at John Carpenter's Dark Star. Dark Star is awesome. It's fucking funny. Yeah, Mr. B Natural. Alec Guinness did well for his episode 4 points. Yeah, he bowed out for those episode 4 points. I know. I don't know why. He just was a moron about that. I know why. He didn't have any faith in that movie at all. So, what else we got going on here? So you probably heard about this by now, but Netflix is hit with a lawsuit by Choose Co. Limited. They're the Choose Your Own Adventure books over Bandersnatch. So the whole thing about this is, and this was on Variety. Variety had covered this. Choose Your Own Adventure books had actually worked with Fox initially. 20th Century Fox had optioned the rights to develop an interactive film series based on the books. So that never went forward. They still had the rights to it, though. And the suit also contends that the film is violent and disturbing, including references to murder, decapitation, drug use, and the mutilation of a corpse, which is inappropriate for the young adult readers of the book series. The suit claims that the violent imagery tarnishes the Choose Your Own Adventure brand. So yeah, there's a couple different things that this is hitting on, and I can see their point on this. But yeah, man, it's gonna be a rough one. I don't know. I still haven't watched Bandersnatch yet. It's in my queue. There's so many things in my queue right now. I swear to God. Because of Future Man dropping like it did, I'm trying to get through that. I'm suffering through Orville at the moment too. Gotham. Again, if Orville and Gotham continue on their course, I'm going to be dropping both of those, and so then I'll be able to watch Bandersnatch. So then I'll be able to get around to it. And then also Counterpart too, because I've got to watch Counterpart tomorrow and cover that. So that's the reason why I am going to be taking off here pretty soon, because I also got to see about a car as well. So I've got a lot of stuff going on at the moment, as well as work. Bandersnatch was a good experiment, but as a story, nothing new, Felipe Diaz says. Penn Farm Girl says, I thought it was pretty good. I didn't do every single option, but a cool concept. Yeah, I mean, they've been talking about this for a long time. Like they said, 20th Century Fox. I mean, I remember 20th Century Fox optioning this years ago, or trying to option this. And they're seeking $25 million in damages from this lawsuit, which isn't a lot, to tell you the truth. I'm kind of surprised they didn't go for more, but it seems like they're just basing it on really what they consider hurt their brand. Even though, do kids actually read the Choose Your Own Adventure books anymore? Do they read books anymore, other than what's on your Kindle and iPhone or iPad or anything like that? I don't know. So I don't have any kids, so or none that I know of, as they say. Yeah. But yeah, I kind of figured it was going to happen sooner or later. Yeah. Have you narrowed down the car choices? Penn Farm Girl says, yes. That's why I'm going to a dealer today and taking a look. I've got something narrowed down. That's why I have an appointment that's going on, and why I'll be leaving fairly soon. So another trailer that I put up on my Facebook page, which I was very interested in, is called Weird City. And it's from Jordan Peele and Charlie Sanders. And it looks really batshit crazy, but also really cool at the same time. And the cast, my God, the cast of this thing is just, I mean, there's a lot of people in there. We have Ed O'Neill in there. Here we go. LeVar Burton is in it. Michael Cera, Rosario Dawson, Sarah Gilbert is in this. There's quite a few other people that are in here as well. Yvette Nicole Brown's in there. And what this whole thing is about is a future world where you have the haves and the have-nots, of course. Yeah, it's a look at a life of people living in a futuristic town called Weird. And when you go below the line, is what they call it, there's people that are living there, their normal everyday lives, like having to do their own clothes and, wash their own clothes, which the people above the line find that fascinating. It's going to be on Netflix, Joker. So is it Netflix or YouTube? I believe it's YouTube, actually. That's right. It is YouTube. Yeah, all of a sudden let me actually take a look real quick and I can tell you. Yes, it's going to be a YouTube original series. There we go. So we don't have a release date as of yet. But it says, from the mind of Jordan Peele and Charlie Sanders comes Weird City, a satirical anthology set in the not-too-distant future metropolis of Weird. In this dystopian setting of our show, the middle class has completely vanished, dividing Weird City into two sections. Above the line, the haves, and below the line, the have-nots. Presiding over the denizens of the city is the strange and mysterious Dr. Nagari, who weaves all of our stories together. And Dr. Nagari is played by LeVar Burton. Each episode is a topic that pertains to present-day life in America and the world. Social media addiction, online dating, fitness obsession, etc. Weird City captures the unease of modern urban living in a bizarre and peculiar lens. So it's actually a series that's going on. Wow, okay, it's actually out already. The release date is 1/9/19. I didn't realize it was already out. So I am going to actually take a look at that and try and review some of that too. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that comes about, because it looks really weird. Yeah, the Homermobile. I am not getting the Homermobile Morks. Penn Farm Girl says SUV, red hot convertible. I'm just curious what your tastes are. It's going to be a hoopty. That's what it's going to be. That's the car I'm going for. I'm going for a hoopty. Slurmy Scott says, Dennis, check out the return leases. My friend got one for 35% off of new with only 5,000 miles. Yeah, I am. So I'm looking at a hybrid is what I'm looking for, and hybrids are very hard to find, especially for return leases. So don't drink Earl Grey and drive. Why not? It's not like no one leases a hoopty. Yeah, I'm not looking for a lease either at this point. Who knows? I'm going to see what the prices are, what my options are at this point. So, yeah, I got to take that. So that's another show that's added onto my list of shows is Weird City. My God, there's so much stuff out there. So I'm going to leave off with Adam McKay has said that he has talked to Marvel about doing a Silver Surfer movie. And it was kind of funny because they were walking down the carpet of the Golden Globes, and Kevin Feige had walked on the carpet beforehand, and they were talking about what things he would like to see, with the Fox merger, finalizing, which is supposed to finalize, I believe, in March here. He said he was really looking forward to the Silver Surfer movie, that there had been some talks about it. And he said Adam McKay would be a great director for it, and said, but they haven't been in talks about it, which was kind of funny. And then a couple of minutes later, Adam McKay walks down, says, oh yeah, we've been talking with Marvel about doing the Silver Surfer movie, but that's going to be down the line because right now I'm in the middle of doing Veep. So, which I kind of find interesting. I'll say that. I'm interested to see how he's going to do a Silver Surfer movie. Excuse me. Especially without the Fantastic Four, or if they're going to introduce the Fantastic Four first and then bring in Silver Surfer. It's going to be interesting to see, because we've had 2 bad versions of the Fantastic Four now and 3 bad movies. Stanley Tweedle says, in retrospect, would you recommend Titans? The Netflix movie, again, that's still in my queue. I tried watching it. I tried starting it, and it's kind of boring. You know what else is boring? The First on Hulu. The Sean Penn movie about the first people going to Mars. And good God, you want to talk about fucking boring. My God. It's all character driven instead of getting to the point about the mission. And I'm going, okay, you guys gonna get to the mission at some point. Oh God, it's more about the relationship. Okay. And he's still pining over his dead wife who's been dead for 10 years. All right. Got it. All right. Okay, I got it. Got it, man. Yeah, it's boring. Just skip it. You know what, Stormy Scott? I don't know. I think I'm on episode 5 or something like that. Every now and then when I'm on Hulu and I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot I was watching that. And I'd watch it, I'm like, oh yeah, and I remember why I stopped watching it. DC Titans is what Tweedle says. Do I recommend DC Titans? Not really. It's poorly done. It's really poorly done. And the dialogue, especially in the first couple episodes, is really bad. Really, really, really bad. So I haven't finished out the series though. So, and I honestly, I'm kind of really not wanting to tell you the truth. I'm interested to see how Swamp Thing is going to come about, but yeah, other than that, I couldn't recommend DC Titans. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, so fuck Batman. Uh yeah. It's the guy who playing Dick Grayson isn't that great. The guy who plays Gar is spot on. I think yeah, and I was actually kind of bagging on him to begin with before the thing even started. And he was actually pretty spot on. So Felipe Diaz says, I think Titans is for hardcore DC fans to enjoy. I'm on the same page. I still need to watch the last 3 episodes. Yeah, I'm a pretty hardcore DC fan from the 70s and 80s, DC stuff. That's why I still watch the CW shows. And even I was kind of like, about that. Joe Greer, have you ever watched any of the Jeffrey Donovan's show on Hulu? No, I haven't watched the new stuff that he's done on Hulu. I know it's about a con man, right? If I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I haven't watched that either. So we're at the hour and 30-minute mark. I feel that's a good place to end it out. Again, if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button down there. Also hit the like button. If you don't like, you can hit the dislike button as well. Also hit the little bell down there if you want to get notified about when I'm doing new videos. And you'll see a subscribe thing come up here, and also a video. It basically matches what you would like out of my video library algorithm. So take a look at those. And I will see you tomorrow morning. It's up on my website. You can see at suspendedfanimation.com. Also on Facebook. I'm also on Twitter. I'm also on Instagram as well. But if you look at my website and you look at Facebook, you can see what my next time is. It's tomorrow morning for Counterpart. I believe it's either 9 or 10 a.m. I believe I put it at 10 a.m. So I will be covering Counterpart episode 6. There we go. With that said, again, don't forget to subscribe. Take a look at the videos over there. And I will see you next time, or tomorrow morning, I should say. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you might find that you're optioned into a really bad CBS show with a contractor, a clinical psychologist, and a wannabe priest.